with the ancient scholar. So as you can see by the introduction of the video, I have kind of an interesting topic to discuss, and it's probably not what you think. It's actually interesting, what we call Gedanken, or thought experiment, and this will lead us into a lot of interesting pathways of discussion, and really this is probably something I should have discussed at the beginning of the respiratory physics playlist. As you can see, I haven't really talked about things like motion and Newton's laws and energy and all that, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do several videos kind of covering some of the basic concepts of motion, energy, Newton's laws, and so on and so forth. But today what I wanted to talk about is I wanted you to think about somebody or something, let's say inside of a helicopter or aircraft. That's something we can conceptualize, something we can visualize. And a few years ago, back when I was flying, there was this nurse that has his partner, his paramedic partner, and he posed this interesting question. And he asked his partner, okay, let's say that we are inside of the helicopter, and the helicopter is flying, it is moving this way at a velocity, so this is a vector quantity, and we'll say it's a constant velocity of 120 miles per hour in this direction. The helicopter is moving this way. And there's a fly inside of the helicopter. So I have a little fly here. And that fly takes off. Let's say maybe there's a little chair inside of the helicopter. And the fly takes off from that chair. And that fly takes off with a velocity, a vector quantity, in this direction of 3 miles per hour. So it's flying toward the front of the helicopter at 3 miles per hour. And the question that he posed to his partner is, how fast is that fly flying? And his partner said, well, if the fly took off at 3 miles per hour and flew away at 3 miles per hour, the fly was flying at 3 miles per hour. And his partner, the nurse, said, you are absolutely incorrect. And let me tell you why. Because the helicopter is flying at 120 miles an hour in this direction, and if the fly takes off at 3 miles per hour in direction, what really ends up happening is we have addition of the velocities. So what the nurse said is that in fact the fly is flying at 123 miles per hour. And unfortunately the conversation was kind of left at that. There wasn't really much discussion beyond that. That the nurse thought he was right, and perhaps a paramedic maybe thought he was wrong. So let's re-examine this question. And this is actually going to lead into some very profound thoughts and some things that maybe we don't necessarily think about on a day-to-day basis. The question I would pose if I was that paramedic is, well, what does that fly think it's flying? Let's say that we had another fly that was landed somewhere in that helicopter, and it's not moving, and it has a little radar gun, and it shoots the radar at that fly as it's flying, and lo and behold, on that fly's radar gun it says 3 miles per hour. So, to the fly that doesn't know any better, it's going 3 miles per hour. The fly has no real comprehension of being in a helicopter, flying at 120 miles per hour in this helicopter. The only thing the fly knows, the only thing the fly can see, sense, feel, is that it's flying at 3 miles per hour. And if there is another fly in that helicopter, and it has a little radar gun, and it clocks that fly, his friend, lo and behold, it is going 3 miles per hour in that direction. So, this is becoming a bit more complicated then. Is the fly flying at 3 miles per hour? Or is the fly flying at 123 miles per hour? Well, let's just go ahead and add another dimension of complexity to this scenario. And I'll leave you guys with this thought, and we can come and pick this up in just a little bit. Let's say that I now have somebody on the ground, and that person on the ground has exceptionally good eyesight, and he or she can see into that helicopter. and see the flies moving around, see the helicopter flying 120 miles an hour, and we'll just say that this person isn't moving at all. This person has no velocity, no change in velocity, no acceleration. He's just sitting there nice and still looking at this helicopter zooming on by at 120 miles per hour. And the question is, what do you suppose he sees in that helicopter? And I'll leave you guys with that. Hopefully this gives you some interesting things to think about, and we'll see you guys in a few.